Welcome back to the Optimal Experience. Today we are taking a step away from benchmark graphs to tackle a massive, almost philosophical question that haunts every PC gamer. When using modern hardware, it absolutely crushes current titles at the highest settings, but time marches on. In 3, 4 or 5 years, to keep those frame rates high, we will inevitably have to start sliding those graphics presets to the left. The question is, when that day comes, will the low or medium settings of the future still look as good as the high settings of today? Do water, foliage and lighting degrade over a GPU's lifespan, or does the baseline of gaming graphics permanently shift upward? Grab a snack because the answer is fascinating and it will completely change how you view your hardware investments. Let's clear up the biggest misconception right out the gate. Graphics cards do not slow down over time. 5 years from now, your GPU will render today's build of Crimson Desert at the exact same flawless frame rates you get today. The hardware maintains its absolute standard. What changes is the software demanding the resources. A low preset in a game released in 2030 is fundamentally different from low settings presets today. Developers are constantly raising the absolute floor of their engines. The bare minimum visual quality of tomorrow is built on the premium technology of today. So when you lower settings in a future title, you are not stepping back in time, you are just turning off the absolute bleeding edge experimental features of that specific year. Let's look at exactly how this works with the environments we benchmark constantly. Think about geometry. Thanks to technologies like Unreal Engine 5's Nanite, the era of blocky low polygon LODs popping into view is dying. The new baseline for geometry is virtualized and dense. A low geometry setting in the future won't mean a tree looks like a cardboard cutout, it just means it might not cast a perfectly accurate pixel-perfect shadow. The same applies to lighting. Right now, rasterized screen space reflections are the standard, and ray tracing or ray regeneration are the heavy, premium extras. But fast forward a few years, basic hardware accelerated ray tracing is becoming the absolute unchangeable minimum for global illumination in modern engines. That means that the low water reflections in a future game will inherently look more realistic and grounded than the ultra screen space reflections we see today, simply because the underlying engine technology has fundamentally evolved. The baseline itself is strictly better. However, there are two massive catches to this reality we have to talk about. The first is a hardware limit, the VRAM wall. While your core GPU compute might easily handle the math of a future low preset, the memory requirements keep climbing. If a future game's lowest texture settings requires 16 GB of VRAM and a card only has 12 GB, those textures will fail to load properly, resulting in a blurry, stuttering mess. Pure horsepower does not matter if the memory buffer overflows. The second catch is entirely in our heads, the psychological shift. Even if a future game on low settings is technically and objectively superior to a current game on high, it might actually feel worse to play. Our eyes adjust to the newest standard of beauty incredibly fast. When you are forced to turn off the latest, shiniest rendering features just to maintain your 60 FPS target, the game feels compromised in your mind, even if the raw image on your screen is stunning by yesterday's standards. It is the FOMO of PC gaming. So to answer the ultimate question, yes, you can absolutely rely on getting satisfactory, incredible visuals years down the line. A future game's medium will often outclass today's ultra simply because the technology powering the engine has moved forward. Your hardware does not lose its edge, the goalposts just move. As long as you have the VRAM to survive the generational leap, sliding those settings down in a few years is nothing to fear. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see more deep dive discussions on PC hardware and optimization, smash that like button and make sure you are subscribed to the Optimal Experience. Let me know in the comments what the oldest GPU you are still happy to game on is, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.